So I'm sitting in the shop. We're going to release a new gear video later today. But I want to talk about a few things um, that have been on my mind. I'm sure they're on a bunch of people's minds right now. And I made myself a list so I can kind of try and keep myself on track. We're under a lot of pressure, a bunch of external pressure as a society, as individuals, as families, as a tribe, so to speak. And we can start with the government. The ATF, 80% lowers and braces, creating criminals overnight, just by the wave of a pen. The incompetence of the FBI, the incompetence of the CIA, the unbelievable power that the IRS has, and that they're being encouraged to change reporting requirements of credit unions and banks. Impending war with China, China's relationship with Afghanistan, China's deteriorating relationship with everyone in that side of the world, Russia and Ukraine and Belarus and everything going on there, and Ukraine trying to join NATO and that causing problems for Russia. And then we have COVID and vaccine mandates and people worried about job security, being able to pay their bills, the lack of free will and choice. And, we got people screaming in the streets, telling women that they should be able to get abortions and it's their body and their choice. But because I don't want to get a vaccine, or I do want to get a vaccine, but I want to wait, you're telling me I have to, and I don't have a choice. And it just seems backwards, to say it really simply. And I think beyond that, right now we exist between liberty and oppression. We are somewhere squarely in the middle. And the only way we are going to be able to tip the scales to liberty is to lead principled lives. Not only do we need to live principled lives, but we don't need to be married to our ideas. We need to have conviction, but we don't need to be married to our ideas. When we're married to our ideals, we tend to alienate other people. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, what your beliefs are. When we stop listening to other people, to any other people, and we don't take the time to be objective, especially with relatively reasonable people, we are starting to contradict liberty as a whole. The idea of it, for people to have free thought, to speak freely, and to live freely, uninhibited from government oppression, to put it simply. The last thing I want to mention is two more things. We need to start holding our elected officials accountable. And those elected officials need to hold our military quote unquote leadership accountable the best way they can, or however they can. We need to start looking at how the government treats our military and our government employees, because voting is not enough, and how you vote is not enough. And that seems to be proven over and over, or to have been proved over and over the last 20 something years. Hanging chads, faulty machines, mail-in voting, signatures, signature verification. You need to be heard. You need to seek out independent news sources. You yourself need to be a lightning rod for information, and you need to be a beacon for people seeking objective, independent thought. Stop espousing, perpetuating, propagating multinational news uh, huge media outlets, they all have an agenda. They all have advertising. Most of them are funded by pharmaceutical ads. If you watch CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, the vast majority of them are pharmaceutical ads. Seek out independent thought, seek out independent news, and everything that you see should always follow this word of advice. If you see or hear something that perfectly aligns with what you believe, you need to try and prove yourself wrong in your quest for knowledge. And if you can find yourself somewhere in the middle or enough on both sides of the spectrum leans towards what you believe to be true to actually have some truth and some validity, share that information, but still remain objective. Uh, that's where my mind's at today. I'm under a lot of pressure, just these external pressures pushing down on me, thinking about what's coming up the pipe the next couple of years. And I think we're purposely being overwhelmed on a regular basis. So we can't stay focused on one thing. We can't concentrate our efforts on one thing. And in 38 years, I can't remember having to think about or having to focus on this many things that relate to just trying to live my everyday life without fear of government reprisal and me or my family being impacted because I choose to live as a free man and to exercise my right to live freely on a regular basis. The last thing I want to mention is get healthy, exercise, eat better, try to get enough sleep, and be emotionally healthy. Don't consume shit information all the time that's going to fuck with your mindset and fuck with how you live your life. Because the healthier you can be in your physical body, you need to be just as healthy in your emotional and mental state as well. I will live and die by the statement that liberty exists above all else, and it always will, as long as people are willing to stand up against people that don't want you to live that way. That's all I got. Like I said, we'll drop a gear video a little bit later today. And this will be up on our YouTube probably in the next hour or so. A couple days out from October. Let's do what we can to not become Australia. That's it. Talk to you guys soon.